Second Rugby World Cup quarterfinal sees the All Blacks taking on Ireland, which is a pretty massive game. We finally get to this game, which I guess has always been one of the potential ones on the cards. It's two of the top teams. Both of these two teams have been number one in the world recently, and they are meeting in the quarterfinal, so it should be a cracking game. I'll put the teams in the description so you guys can check out the actual lineups, but I will go over some of the players. I mean, ultimately for the All Blacks, they finished up with their pool. They haven't played for a while, which will be the main, I guess, talking point as part of their prep is the extra rest to help, and that they haven't played a game. They've had 12 days off. Or is it maybe a little too long where you start to build up a little bit of rust? I mean, it's not that long, really. It's like having a bye in a Super Rugby competition or something else like that. They have regular byes in the Rugby Championship, so it's not an out-of-the-ordinary break. Ireland have got the 6 days off, so it's pretty much an exact standard turnaround for them with a week to the day that you play the next game. So, yeah, which team will come out firing? Was it going to be the rest or was it going to be the rust? That is the question. For the All Blacks, a few changes from that last game. The front row is Moody, Taylor, and Laulala, so no changes there. Second row is Retallick and Whitelock. How Retallick goes is going to be an interesting one because they played him against Namibia for 40 minutes. Was it 30? 30 and brought him off. And then the plan, I think, was to give him like 60 in the final game against Italy, but that game was cancelled, so they haven't managed to get that actual game time into him. I know the All Blacks have been talking about all the work that they've done in lieu of having that game, but it wasn't that game, but still Retallick and Whitelock is the All Blacks' number one second row pairing. Savea moves to 6 from number 8. Sam Cane continues at 7. And Kieran Reid captains the side from number 8. He's coming back in. So again, for the likes of Kieran Reid, it's been an even longer break than those 12 days because he didn't play, I think, for an extra 4 days because he had that last game off. In the backs, Aaron Smith gets the nod at number 9 ahead of TJ Perenara. Mo'unga is back into the side at 10. Remember, he's another guy who had no time in that Namibia game, so he is more like 16 days rest or something like that. Anton Lienert-Brown and Jack Goodhue get the nod in the midfield, which is one of the more contentious ones, even though the All Black squad is relatively settled and I don't think there were too many surprises. Sevu, Reece and George Bridge continue on the wings, and Beauden Barrett is at fullback. He's coming back in like Mo'unga and like Reid, so those three guys are your main three guys who are starting, who are back from a rest. So the All Blacks continue on with the Mo'unga and Barrett dual playmaking access. That's been their thing. That's going to beat all the rush defence and whatnot, so we'll see how that plays out. We'll see if the All Blacks have had anything up their sleeves. The bench is Coles, Tuungafasi and Ta'avao. No changes there, so Coles still is the replacement to Taylor rather than the other way around. That was another one that had people talking a little bit. Scott Barrett is back as the second row replacement. Can also play on the loose if needs be, but I think that's why he's there. Matt Todd continues on the bench as loose forward cover. TJ Perenara kind of shifts position because last time he was essentially covering fly half. First five. Now he's covering halfback as we're used to seeing. Sonny Bill Williams is back on the bench and he's covering the mid. And then you got Jordie Barrett who shifts to the bench from the starting 10 jersey, so he can cover pretty much the entire back line. Except for number 9, so maybe even number 9 in a pinch, but he's a pretty big fella. So yeah, that's the All Black squad. It's only Barrett, Mo'unga, well, both the Barretts, Mo'unga, Kieran Reid, and Sonny Bill Williams that, there's 3 Barretts in the team. Scott Barrett, Beauden Barrett, that didn't play in that last game, plus Sonny Bill, Mo'unga, and Kieran Reid. So the most of this team played in that last game, so they shouldn't have any real issues, one would imagine, getting back up to speed. I mean, the big names that you're missing out, you're looking at Ben Smith, pretty harsh on him as the guy rounding out his All Blacks career, but the All Blacks are pretty ruthless like that they stick to the guys who are informed for the most part. Rieko Ioane is another guy a year ago you couldn't imagine him not starting, but he is not starting. He's not even in the 23. Ryan Codie, another guy who's been there and not been able to do it this time. Has not been able to crack the 23. So yeah, 12 days off since the game against Namibia. That's the thing. For Ireland, they played Samoa last Saturday, so 6 days off. It's a standard break. Their squad, the front row is Healy, Best, and Furlong, so no changes for them there. Henderson and James Ryan in the second row, no changes there. Amahani, Van der Fleer, and Stunder are the back row, so Amahani's up from the bench, but otherwise it's exactly the same full pack as that played in that last game. And Ireland have been up and down in this World Cup, and that they blitzed Scotland, Japan, and the Russia games didn't set the world alight, to be fair, and then back right into the swing of things for Samoa. So we'll see if they can continue that kind of upward trend by picking a relatively stable squad. The backs, Conor Murray and Johnny Sexton, that's going to be an important combo. You know that's going to be the case. We'll see if they can get on top. Henshaw moves to 12 from 13 because Ringrose back at 13. Aki suspended for 3 games, so that's his World Cup done and dusted, unfortunately for him. Jacob Stockdale's left wing stays there. Earls is the right wing, stays there. And Rob Kearney comes back in at 15. That relegates Jordan Lama to the bench. Carberry and McGrath are still on the bench. The only changes is Tyke Byrne drops down to the bench from the starting lineup. Reece Ruddock is back in. He's one of the few changes, and the backup forwards front rowers are Scannell, Kilcoyne, and Porter. So kind of no changes. It's a relatively stable squad. I mean, the All Blacks are the favourites for this one, but you look at the last 5 games, and it's 3-2 to the All Blacks, and you're going back to like 2012 with a 60-0 win to the All Blacks. So the last 5 does have some quite old results there. Not many teams, though, can look at their last 5 and be, as even as this. And if you look at the last 3, Ireland edged that one 2-1. So, it's going to be a fascinating game. I should say that for Ireland, Conway is pretty unlucky, I thought, because he seems to be in a top form. But when you have got the likes of Earls and Stockdale, it's pretty hard to leave, and Lama as well, to leave. It's difficult to pick, basically. Someone's going to have to miss out. In this case, it is Conway. If you look back at the last game, it was in 2018. That was 16-9 to Ireland. That was a real ding-dong battle. Ireland got it, I think, fairly comfortably. I mean, it was a tight game, but Ireland never really looked like losing that game, and there was a bit of magic. I think one of them was a line-out set play that set Stockdale on the wing. But in that game, if you look at the Irish team, it's relatively similar to this one, apart from Devon Toner, Kieran Marmion, and Bundy Aki in the starting 15. Otherwise, it's the same starting 15. But for the All Blacks, it's quite a different lineup. Though for that one, Tui Nukuafe and Franks were the props, and neither of those guys even made the World Cup squad. Liam Squire likewise didn't make it. Rico Ioane was playing on the wing for that one. He's in the squad, but not in the 23. Codie likewise, Ben Smith likewise, and Damien McKenzie didn't make the World Cup due to injury. So, plus Beauden Barrett played 10 in that one. Now he's at 15. So there's 7 different players in that starting 15 for the All Blacks. So it's going to be a different game. How it goes is going to be really fascinating. I'm pumped. It should be interesting. Like I said, the All Blacks are the favourites. Bookies have got them by 12. Rugby Forecast, the algorithm's got the All Blacks by 13, so there's kind of much of a muchness there. It should be a top game. I was talking to my dad, I put this on Twitter, that he doesn't mind who wins as long as there's no cards, that the action is good, there's no terrible refereeing calls, and if Ireland win, they go on to win the World Cup final. So I was like, come on, Dad, no cards. I mean, we all wish for no cards, but in this tournament, it seems hopeful. No bad refereeing calls. I should say referees for this one, Nigel Owens in New Zealand. There's generally quite good feelings about that appointment. And the TMO is Graham Hughes, so kind of not one that screams a shock horror for that one. So, you guys let me know your thoughts on this one. How do you think the game is going to go? If you haven't figured out how you're going to watch this one, I'll put a little bit at the end of this video to let you guys know one way you can watch the game. But you guys let me know your thoughts on this game, predictions, confidence levels, how do you feel about the selections, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later. So the Rugby World Cup knockout stages are here. You got 4 quarterfinals, 2 semis, a bronze match, and a final to go. So if you haven't worked out how you're going to watch these games, now is probably the time to do it. If you're in the UK, you can ignore this because you get it all for free on the ITV hub anyway. But if you're like me, you're in New Zealand, you're in Australia, wherever else, South Africa, wherever it's behind a paywall, there's an alternative for you guys. You jump on to ExpressVPN. There's a link in the description. You head over to itv.com. They've got their games for free. Like I said, it's in the UK. All the World Cup content is there. You can stream it live. You can watch all of the pool games, or the playoff games as well. Delayed coverage is there. So it's just an option, man. The World Cup, it's almost done. We're getting down to the nitty gritty now. So ExpressVPN, the link's down in the description. It's like $12.95 American for a month. If that's all you need to watch the rugby, if you want to get it longer, use the VPN for other things like keeping your internet private, and if you do Netflix and you're looking at the region lock content, all that kind of stuff. If that's for you, there's a discount on the year subscription as well. So check it out, guys. Rugby World Cup knockout stages are here. Hopefully you can watch it wherever you are, be it on ITV, Sky Sports, Supersport, NBC, whatever it is. But yeah, enjoy the games, guys. See you later.